Hello and welcome to the second episode in our series where we take a look at VSF for the Aruba switches. VSF stands for Virtual Switching Framework, which allows you to stack multiple switches together and use them as one logical unit. This helps with redundancy and ease of management. You can configure them all from one simple interface. We're going to be using the 6300M series of switches, which have the 4 SFP ports on the end, just by here, and can have a total throughput of 200 gigs to another switch. Because we're using 3 switches, it's not going to allow us to do that. We're going to do 1 to 1 and then loop it straight back up. We are going to configure these switches in a ring topology, so it gives us the maximum amount of redundancy. We're going to be using these 50 gig DAC cables from Aruba, the official ones. So to start off, we're going to need to connect to the switches. If you're not sure on how to do that, we have a video in the series regarding that. I'll put a link down in the description for you. Once you're connected to the switch, we will go ahead and start with logging in. We've got the default username and password here as admin and no password like usual, which is very secure. Not really. Now that you're logged into the switch, we're going to look at setting up these stacking interfaces. But first we will check on the VSF config currently. So we can do is show VSF, which will show you if there's any other switches in the framework at the moment. As you can see, it's just this one at the moment, which is the master, and it will continue to be the master because we're going to add every other switch to this one. So first we're going to configure, or move into global config mode, and then we're going to do VSF member 1. As you can see, it is member 1 as shown above, and once we hit enter, we're now in the configuration for the VSF member 1, and we can change the links. So we're going to do 2 links to complete the ring topology, and it will be link 1 on port 1149, and then the second link, which will be an uplink from one of the other switches, link 2, which will be 1150. There we go.
So if you exit out of this and you do a show VSF link, you can see which links have been set up,
and you have link states and which interfaces they correspond to. And we'll now move on to the next switch, which will be very similar, and you'll see why. So we're now logged into the second switch, and once again, if we do a show VSF, we can see it's standalone, and this one is also the master. But if we do show VSF links, nothing. So if we go into configuration mode and then VSF member 1, because this is the master still, it will be number 1 at the moment, and we do a link 1149, same as the other one, and link 2 1150. We've now configured the links, so if we go back and show VSF link, you can see we've got the 2 interfaces. However, it is still VSF member 1, which is what we need to change next. Go back into global config mode, we'll have VSF renumber 2 and then 2. Now you'll need to make sure that the switches are connected at this point, and I'll show you me connecting the cables now. So once the cable's connected, if you hit enter on this, it'll ask you if you want to save the configuration and want to continue. Hit the Y key and the switch will reboot and join the first member. Once the switch comes back, as you can see, we can log in as usual. This is the second member of the stack. So once it logs us in, you'll be able to see that you can't do much in the way of management. This is because, of course, it's part of the virtual switching framework, and it will come up as a member. So if we do a question mark, you can see all the commands you can use. It's really not that much. If you do have issues with the switch being a member of the stack, you can factory reset it as shown below with a simple VSF-factory-reset. Yeah, we'll move back to the first switch now so you can see the topology. So we're back on the first switch now, and as you can see, if we do a show VSF, you see there's two members, one's the master, one's a member. And if you look at the topology at the moment, it is just a chain, and you need 3 members in the stack for it to be a ring. So we'll move on to the third member now. So we're now connected to member 3 of the stack that we're creating, and if we go into configure VSF member 1, it is 1 until you renumber it, and we do the same, so we do link 1 1149 and link to 1150. I will show you as well me connecting the cables for the second member of the stacks. And now we will renumber to member 3. So if we do a VSF renumber 2 and member 3. Same as before, it will do a reboot and it will bring it up as a member. Now you can see that the third member of the stack is booted, and I've logged in. So if we do show VSF on here, you can see the 3 members, 2 of them are just members, and 1 is the master. So we'll head over to the master and we'll do some more configuration. So we're back on the master, and if I do a show VSF on here, you can see that we're still in a chain, and I'm on the master. You can tell this because you can see the host name. So if I show the host name, it is just 6300. The other members of the stack will just show member. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll plug in the third cable to make it a ring topology. So if we wait a little bit and we show VSF again, you can see there's a ring and there's no split, but there is actually no split detection method set up currently. In a separate video I'll go through all the split detection methods and how useful they can be. Now that we are in a ring topology, what I'm going to do is designate a secondary member, so if the master falls over, it's still got essentially a configurable member switch. If you don't have a secondary and the master does fall over, all your switch is going to fall over, and no one wants that. So if we go into configuration mode and then we do VSF secondary hyphen member, and then you designate which member is going to be the secondary. We'll use member 2. Hit that, it will reboot the switch, and we'll see it back up in a few minutes with the secondary member as stack member 2. Now if we were to do a show VSF right now, you will see that the second member is not present, and that's because it's rebooted. So once it's booted, you should be able to see that doing a show VSF will give you the master, which is switch member 1 as highlighted here. The secondary member will be the standby, and the third member is just a member. Now, because we do have a secondary, the issue is here that if we didn't have split detection, you can get a split brain and basically make the network fall over. It won't know where to go. I'll go into that in further detail in another video. So that's it from me, and the second episode in the series of the ArubaOS-CX switches. We have managed to configure a ring topology through VSF, and you should be good to go now to upgrade your firmware. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you have any questions, leave a comment. And if you want to see future videos on this series or any of our others, which include FortiOS, please subscribe. Thank you. Just clapping for myself, it's really awkward.